Welcome to e-Pathshala, subject social medicine and community health. Today's paper which we are going to discuss is the healthcare delivery system, but we are going to discuss about indigenous system of medicine. Thanks to the development team under Professor Mishra and his team from Aligarh Muslim University, and coming to the objectives. The types of indigenous system. This is important in our country because apart from the allopathic system which we also have a parallel setup which we have been following from times immemorial. And this has been actually the basis of our treatment schedule before allopathy, long before allopathy, and existed long before allopathy came to rule our lives. So we must know the types of indigenous systems in India, the medical systems of Ayurveda, the practice of yoga, the system of Unani medicines, and the Siddha system of indigenous medicine. Now, in this Ayurvedic or the indigenous medicines, we have different systems and they follow different rules and patterns. That is, the medical system of Ayurveda deals with the jadis and the bhutis. Practice of yoga is exercises mind and self-control and body control through such exercises and postures which will give complete mental satisfaction and mental peace, and thus with their habits they will bring down say for example blood pressure. The yoga, Ayurveda, they have a very good effect on blood pressure, and if a person who practices yoga regularly, his blood pressure will be very controlled, his diabetes will be controlled. So these are medicines and practices which are absolutely precious to us, and this is how we must maintain and keep them in use today. Then we have the system of Unani medicine. This came from the Urdu system, and they have their own jhar, phuk, and and the Siddha system of medicine. All these have been regularly been practiced in our country from times immemorial. And last of all, the homeopathy system of medicine. Most people know only homeopathy as a system ki jahan meethi goli khana hota hai, and children are very happy. Children and old people are very happy in order to take the homeopathic system. But this system is, what are these small meetha golis consist of? They consist of actually chemicals. Pharmacology is involved, and the use of chemicals is involved, and the use of chemicals and their action on different parts of the body at different times. So the timing, the body actions, and the structure of the body, they all become important parts as far as homeopathy is concerned. In the introduction, India actually has a unique distinction amongst different countries of the world in having at least 6 different recognized branches of indigenous systems of medicine. These branches are better known as the Ayush system of medicine. In India, Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. All of them did not originate in India, but all of them have been assimilated in the Indian culture. Homeopathy came to India in the 18th century. It completely assimilated into the Indian culture and got enriched here. Now it is considered as part of the Indian system of medicine with its own group of followers who are absolutely devoted only to homeopathy, and they swear by homeopathy because those chemicals are best suited to their bodies. Apart from these systems, there are a large number of healers in the folklore system stream who have not yet been organized under any category. For example, we have the healers, the traditional healers in the villages, and they do jhar phuk. Now, this is also a sort of a system treatment, but we have not included into any one of these systems in which we are already speaking. Now, for example, jhar phuk. You go to these sadhu babas, they are sitting in the temples, sitting in their ashrams, they are sitting in their mutts, and um, they use these brushes of peacock feathers in order to bring out the evil, to flow out the evil from the body, and they burn different chemicals or ashes, and those ashes are given to be applied on the forehead. And it is said that those chemicals in the ashes may have an effect on the body of the person, thereby rendering him a cure. Now, what is the background of all this? We have absolutely no idea, and neither are those folklore traditional practitioners able to tell us on what is the basis of these medicines. For some of them, now Ayurveda, we know that Ayurveda deals with plants and jadis and bhutis, and each plant has its own chemical composition, and it's made in a separate way. Either it is crushed, or it is cooked, or boiled, or steamed, or mixed with some other chemicals. It forms a decoction of a beautiful chemical which will have a very good effect. Now, we know that is the system. In homeopathy, we are dealing with chemicals who have been given the form of these small white, um, um, actually, globules of sweet balls. And these little small tablets, or they can be taken very comfortably. Then in the other systems, not to say much, but none of them has actually given us a basis. Yoga has now been developed so much that it is giving us a basis of some understanding, definitely. Now, Ayurveda. Let us take them one by one and try to explain what these medicines mean. Ayurveda is a Sanskrit word meaning life knowledge. It is originated in the prehistoric times, and some of its concepts have been discovered since the times of the Indus Valley civilization. Because in the Indus Valley civilization, in the beginning, we found little pots and for crushing and polishing those medicines. So we believe that they could have been used as treatment centers of the olden times of these plants or whatever it is. So some form of traditional medicine did exist from the Indus Valley civilization. Ayurvedic names, that is, three elemental substances, the doshas. They say that Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata means the gas part. Pitta is that the juice which comes out from the liver and the gallbladder. And if uh, its pH changes, then its functioning and its effect on the body balance will also change. And then, of course, the gas. So it is the gas, these are the three elements: the air, the pith which is coming out, the gas, why gas joins up in the body. So these, an imbalance of all these three states that actually a balance should be maintained. This is a delicate balance between all the three doshas. It results in health, while imbalance results in. It actually lays great importance on living in harmony with the universe and harmony of nature and science. So we say that if you are going to cut down the trees, obviously we are going to lose greenery, we are going to lose plants which are actually giving us, who've taken our carbon dioxide and they are giving us oxygen. So they are giving us a life-giving oxygen. So once you chop off the trees, where is the oxygen going to come? We are going to simply breathe in the carbon dioxide which we have been breathing out. And this is what we are misbalancing the harmony of the universe. And as Charak also said, that there are three principal early texts on Ayurveda. That is, it includes the Charaka Samhita, the Shishrut Samhita, and the Veda Samhita. The Samhita means a collection of sayings, writings given by these traditional, old, intelligent people who form the basis of traditional medicine from times immemorial. And these are the intelligentsias which have been given to us today in the form of Ayurveda. Charaka Samhita, that is author was Charaka. Sushruta Samhita, author was Sushruta. Bhela Samhita is the Punarvasu. In the diagnosis and treatment in Ayurveda, the philosophy of Ayurveda is based on the theory of Panchabhutas, that is the 5-element theory. Now, that means Ayurveda has actually 8 ways to diagnose illness. So, we are not experts in Ayurveda or in traditional medicine. But from what little we know, because there are people who are actually trained in Ayurveda and they are the doctors. And so, let us just try and share this knowledge between us. So, we are dealing with Nadi. Nadi is the pulse, and it is a very important part of Ayurvedic medicine and that system of treatment of medicine, because the first thing which they see is the Nadi pulse, which they read, and through the Nadi they are able to understand what is happening in the entire body. Then the Mutra, that is the urine, the Mala, that is the stool, what type of stool, because they will often ask questions of how are we passing urine, is it, what color is it, does it smell, how often do we pass it, in what quantities, and similarly about stool, what are the colors and what type, what consistency. Then they are most important in tongue. They look at speech, they look at touch, they look at vision, and they look at akriti, that is the appearance of the person. So these are the factors on which the Ayurveda physician takes out his diagnosis and gives the treatment. Now, the general examination is known as a 10-fold examination, through which a physician examines in the following parameters. Now, let us see this. This is the psychosomatic constitution, the disease susceptibility, qualities of tissues, body build, anthropometry, adaptability, mental power, digestive power, exercise endurance, and the age of the patient. After which information is received from all this, there is an absolute match of all the factors which come out in order to give one proper diagnosis through which he will treat. Now, treatment or upakarma in Ayurveda. Upakarma in Ayurveda means treatment, and this can be done in langhana or brimhana, that is, food is a very important part. And second thing, if you remember, if you remember being visiting an Ayurvedic physician, the first thing he will say is तरह का खाना खाना चाहिए, गरम, ठंडा या फिर ये खाना चाहिए. तो खाने के ऊपर उनका बहुत जोर रहता है. और किस तरह का खाना, मतलब all these foods which you take in must balance those doshas and the kapha, pitta, and all the 3 doshas must be balanced. So, if there is any imbalance which he finds on his examination, he rebalances the entire thing by either depleting your diet of certain things and by increasing the nourishing on certain things. Now, in depleting the diet, if we remember, one is, he says that we are purifying certain functions of the body, and in others he says that this is hyperactive. So what we are doing is we are pacifying it. For example, emesis is what? Ulti karna. So when a person does vomits, so he is actually getting purified. And purgation. So whether it is from the top, oral emesis, or he passes stools, diarrhea, that is purgation, and either an enema is given or plants are given in order to improve the tractability of the GI system, so that they say that जो भी वात पित्त कफा के कारण अंदर में जो भी गड़बड़ी आती है अंतड़ियों में, that is removed by all these purification methods. Now, for example, nasya, that is nasal medication. Actually, if you remember reading about it, which I'm sure some of you will do, that there is a yoga in which people take in water through one nostril and take it out through the other, or certain breathing exercises. That is, you are breathing through one nostril and you are taking out. I'm forgetting the name of this particular asana, but this is a very important thing. That means, and they will be able to find out how much air is going in and how much is purification is occurring. So this asana, these methods, these exercises are all to balance the body. And Raktamosha, that is bloodletting in ancient times. They don't do bloodletting now, but in ancient times when there used to be high fever and the person was with rigor, they would do bloodletting. Any vein they would cut and collect the blood, and so that in depleting the blood volume, they would be purifying, they would be bringing back the body to balance. Then Samana, pacifying. The pacifying, we are actually hyperactive colon, hyperactive GI disturbances. So they use पाचन की गोली आती है, अदरक की आती है या नींबू की आती है. They are very tasty, very interesting and very interesting to eat. So these digestives are taken. Then increasing the digestive. If you take these pachanas, they help in digestion. Then they help in the hunger. If digestion takes place, depletion will occur and natural hunger pangs will come. Thirst will improve, so you will take water which is very good. Exercises they order, and sunlight to a certain extent. They will say wear a white cloth, sit with your back or with your face, do some quiet asana, sit in meditation so that the sunlight goes into your body. It creates peace, it creates purification. And the wind. Now, specializations in Ayurveda, the 8 major divisions of Ayurveda are as follows. That is Ravi Shankar and Shukla, 2007. According to them, this classification has been given. That is Kaya Chikitsa, internal medicine, Kaumara Bhatya, pediatrics, Bhuta Vidya, psychiatry, Shalakya, otorhino, that is ENT and ophthalmology, Shalya, surgery, Agada Tantra, toxicology, Rasayana, geriatrics, and Vajikarana is aphrodisiacs and eugenics. Benefits and criticism of Ayurveda. Ayurveda advocates holistic medicine. Means you are treating the body of the person or the patient as a whole person, and you are purifying his system. You are bringing into balance his internal system through Ayurveda. Though Ayurveda is an age-old practice, it lacks firm scientific basis. And in India, research in Ayurveda is undertaken by the CCRAS, and there have been evidences of presence of toxic metals in Ayurvedic preparations in the past. In India, the government has ruled that Ayurvedic products must be labeled with their metallic contents. So therefore, no sort of problems can arise. Now the second part, yoga comes from the Sanskrit word union. Yoga is considered a mind-body therapy and is a way of life, and which has a potential for improvement of social and personal behavior and improvement of physical health. So therefore, the practice of yoga is dated back to the Indus Valley civilizations, when we have known our ancestors, we have known our Mahatmas. They have always sat in meditation in yogic postures, and today these yogic postures have become the practical yoga which we are using. Although I must say with a word of caution that in some yoga classes you will find very active yoga. Yoga is not that active. Yoga is sinking into meditation to give the body peaceful peace, internal peace, and sets the axis of the body in one simple zone, and it is a balanced zone. Yoga Sutras of Patanjali constitute actually classical Ashta Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, that is the 8 limbs, and is also called the Raj Yoga. Now, what is the classical Ashtanga Yoga? The 8 limbs. Yama, the 5 abstentions, that is Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, and Aparigraha, that is non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, celibacy, non-possessiveness. Then the Niyama, that is Niyam se follow karna, that is Sauka, purity, Santosha, Tapas, Swadharya, self-reflection, and Ishvara Pranidhana, that is contemplation of God. Now, actually, if you see, what is yoga? Yoga is bringing the mind and body to such a balance that we reach in one axis to the Almighty God above, and we are connected with Him in order to gain peace. If we are connected with the Almighty Lord and with the universe, we are at one with the universe, so all our 3 doshas are all in a straight line. And most important, that is how at that stage we are in an absolutely healthy state of mind and body. The classical Ashtanga Yoga, or the 8 limbs, meaning asana, means how do you sit. So first of all, asanas are the ones which are used for meditation. How do you sit? You can't sit with a back which is extending towards one side, or you are in a reclining position. No. You have to bring all the body in a straight line so that all the horizontal and the vertical axes are in one line. Pranayam means suspending breath for the control of life force. Pratyahar, withdrawal of sense organs from the external objects. Dharana, concentration. Dhyana, meditation. Samadhi, liberation. Now, Samadhi is the last stage wherein which are reached only by a very few, that is only by those sadhus or sannyasis who have done tap for a long time. And we people, we are normal human beings. We can only, if we go up to concentration and a little bit of meditation, that is more than sufficient for us. Now, yoga has become, like I said, yoga has become a popular form of physical exercises all across the world, and all different types of yoga activities are taking place. In fact, recently it is celebrated on 21st of June, the Yoga Day, the National Yoga Day was celebrated, and lots of people went in to do yoga, but this is not. Yoga is an individual attempt to reach God. Its benefit in curing low back pain and other physical and orthopedic ailments have been found very effective by research methods. To further popularize yoga, the Indian government's efforts have led to the UN approval for 21st June, I just mentioned it, to be celebrated as the International Yoga Day. After Ayurveda, you have the Unani system of medicine, and Avicenna defined Unani medicine that it is the science in which we learn various states of body in health and when not in health, and the means by which health is likely to be lost, and when lost is likely to be restored. So Unani medicine came from the ancient Greco-Egyptian medicine made popular by Arabic soldiers by Ibn Sina, that is Avicenna, more popularly known as Avicenna. In India, it arrived in the 12th century, and Unani medicine is based on the concept of the 4 humors, that is the phlegm, that is the balgam, blood, dam, yellow bile, that is the safra, and the black bile known as the soda. Now, we are not very familiar with the Unani medicine, but whatever information there is, it is available to you in your slides and information booklet. In the diagnosis and treatment of any cause or any factor is encountered by the Kuvayate Mudabra e Badan, the power of body responsible to maintain health, the failing of which may lead to quantitatively or qualitatively derangement of the normal equilibrium of aklat, that is humors of the body, which constitute the tissues and the organs. This abnormal humor leads to pathological changes in the tissues, anatomically and physiologically at the affected site, and exhibits the clinical manifestations. In the Usule Ilaj, that is the principles of management in Unani medicine, the treatment in Unani medicines are of three types, and they depend on regimenal therapy, the pharmacotherapy, and the surgery. The Unani medicine is presently practiced in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, China, Iran, Iraq, Malaysia, Indonesia, Central Asia, the Middle Eastern countries. In India, the system has been developed scientifically, nurtured, and systematically integrated into healthcare delivery system over the time. And Unani has its own special practitioners. Now, in the Siddha is a system of traditional medicine that originated in Tamil Nadu in South India. And the word Siddha comes from the word Siddhi, which means an object to be attained, perfection or heavenly bliss. In other words, when you meditate, you reach that bliss of mind which is totally peaceful and brings a calm into your body. So therefore, Siddha focused to Ashtama for Siddhi, that is the 8 supernatural powers. The concept of disease in Siddha system is when the normal equilibrium of the 3 humors. Here also we are basically dealing with the 3 humors as in Ayurveda, that is the Vadam, Pittam and the Kabam that is disturbed, and once these 3, that is Vat, Pitta and Kapha, once this is disturbed, the disease is caused. The factors assumed to affect this equilibrium are actually environment, climatic conditions, most important diet, physical activities and stress. Under normal conditions, the ratio between all the 3 should be 4:2:1, and any disturbance in this ratio brings therefore different types of diseases. If Vata goes up, there will be different types of disease. If Pitta goes up, we have gallbladder, intestines, digestion. And if Kapha goes up, we have the acute respiratory infections or the lung infections. Kapha, we say when we are, the bulgum has to come out, the expectoration has to come out. So any disbalance in all this ratio is likely to bring about a state of disease and infection. In diagnosis, examination of 8 systems is required, which is commonly known as Yen, Vakai, Teru. Na, that is tongue, Na, that is black in Vatam, yellow and red, these are the different colors which are given. Varanam, that is the color, and if it becomes pale, then it is Kabam, yellow or red in Pittam. So, depending on the color which these different items undertake, the people in Siddha medicines diagnose and give the treatment accordingly. Now, for example, the tongue. The tongue is ulcerated in anemia, so they will treat accordingly. Kural, that is voice. It should be normal in when the Vat. Pittam, it should be high pitched. It should be low pitched in Kabam, and it should be slurred in alcoholism, which is but very natural. Kanna means eyes. Yellowish or red in Pittam, pale in Kabam. Todal means touch. Dry in Vatam, and whatever the circumstances are. So, combination. So, malam, stool, neer, urine, nadi, you have the pulse, and any differences in all these, plus combination of all the factors which you get from all these will give you the diagnosis of what is the same. So, the drugs used by the Siddhas could be classified into 3 groups. That is the Tavaram, that is the herbal products. Kadu, that is the inorganic substances, and for example, Pashanam, that is drugs which do not dissolve in water but emit vapor when fired. Uparasam, similar to Pashanam. Loham, did not dissolve in water but melt when fired. Rasam, drugs which are soft, and Gandhanam. Then Jagamam, these are animal products. So these are specialists of their own medicine, and we just have to understand and respect the system for what it is. Now, homeopathy. Homeopathy was founded in 1796 by Samuel Hahnemann based on his doctrine of like cures like, similia similibus currentur, whereby a substance that causes the symptoms of a disease in healthy people will cure similar symptoms in sick people. This came to India in the 18th century, is now established Indigenous System of India and very, very popular. And a favorite with, of course, the children as well as the elderly people. Homeopathic pills are made from an inert substance that is often sugars, upon which a drop of liquid homeopathic preparation is placed and allowed to evaporate. Homeopathy is a popular form of medicine in India, but has invited a lot of criticism from the scientific community and assessments by the Australian National Health and Medical Research Council and the Swiss and the British government's health departments. Both concluded that homeopathy is ineffective, recommending against the practice of receiving any further funding. Unfortunately for them, homeopathy is still very much practiced and very popular in the Indian subcontinent. To summarize, apart from the scientific based medicine known as allopathic medicine in India, many traditional systems of medicine are practiced together called Ayush. Now, which you must remember has become an integral part of the primary health center and of the primary health care which is being given in our country, which is now being integrated into the public health system. Every traditional system is based on its own principles and forms healthcare and treatment options for a large group of population. With this, I thank you for visiting Eat Pathshala today.